So I finally got around to watching comedian Bill Burr's special Drop Dead Years, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. Honestly, I thought it was kind of slow at the start, and then it just steamrolled and got funnier as it went. He ended on a high note, and I highly recommend anyone going and checking it out. It was pretty damn funny. But there was one skit in there that I really enjoyed, and that's when he was talking about someone that he knew that had dementia, and the crowd seemed sympathetic. Excuse me, my East Tennessee allergies are really going to be getting the better of me the next coming days, so I'll go ahead and warn y'all up front. But he was talking about people that had dementia and how that if he talks about a friend of his that has it, the crowd will be sympathetic. But the minute he puts a D or a R besides the name or references Joe Biden, because the special was actually filmed while Biden was still president, he said, now look at you. Now you're laughing. Now you're making fun. Now you're screaming at the guy, yelling at the guy, criticizing the guy's every move. But if it was somebody you knew, you would have compassion for it. And that's how I felt about it all along. And I said many times here on the channel, when you share this tasteless stuff, poking fun at dementia, Joe Biden's not going to see that post, nor is he going to care. But there's going to be people, friends of yours out there who is struggling with someone in their family who has dementia, and they're going to see that you make light of that and find a way to make a joke of it. That's why I've always kind of steered clear of that one. I don't hold Trump to account on stuff that he forgets or misspeaks or mispronouncing words. I do it myself all the time here on the channel. So I don't really come down as hard on Trump over those things because there's plenty of more stuff to come down on him for. I mean, there's so much more we could disagree with him on than to capitalize on his age or him being forgetful. However, there's no way I couldn't cover this story because if this had been a Joe Biden story, if Joe Biden had came out and said that he didn't remember signing something and he's not sure who did, if Joe Biden had said that, Fox News would have absolutely came off their rockers. They would have had material for a solid year. Every right-wing influencer would have been live on TikTok talking nonstop around the clock about who signed this if he didn't. It would have been the biggest story of the year. But with Trump, this kind of stuff happens and just sort of goes under the radar, and I have to call bullshit on it. So we're going to go here to this article from MidasNews.com, and this one was written by Aaron Parnas. Donald Trump claims he didn't sign the Alien Enemies Act proclamation. If he didn't sign it, who did? So, speaking to the press as he departed the White House, Trump dismissed responsibility for the order, stating, I don't know when it was signed because I didn't sign it. Other people handled it. But Marco Rubio has done a great job, and he wanted them out, and we go along with that. Yet just days earlier, the administration's own press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, told an entirely different story from the briefing room podium. In response to a question about the controversial deportation of alleged members of the, can't pronounce that name, a Venezuelan gang labeled by the administration as a foreign terrorist organization, Leavitt was crystal clear. President Trump signed a proclamation invoking the Alien Enemies Act regarding the invasion of the United States by foreign terrorist organization. At the president's direction, the DHS Gov carried out a counterterrorism operation deporting nearly 200 violent TDA terrorists, which will save countless American lives. So which is it? The contradiction might seem like typical Trump-era communications breakdown, but it may have deeper legal consequences. It appears as though the administration is growing increasingly concerned with top DHS officials could be held in contempt of court for violating Judge James Boasberg's recent ruling on the Alien Enemies Act. But if Trump now claims he didn't sign the proclamation, does that mean that it's invalid? Probably not, but it is a question laced with irony. This week, Trump launched a full-throated attack on President Joe Biden for using an auto pen to sign documents, particularly presidential pardons. Trump insisted that the measures rendered Biden's actions illegitimate and unconstitutional. So if Trump didn't personally sign this proclamation, as he now says, does it meet his own standard for a valid presidential act? Or is this just another case of Trump attempting to shift blame when legal accountability looms? There are broader implications too. Deporting nearly 200 individuals under the authority of a proclamation that the president claims he didn't sign could expose DHS and other agencies to legal challenges, especially if it's revealed that the document wasn't executed without a clear chain of legal authority. That's unlikely true, however. The Federal Register shows Donald Trump's signature on the document. The signature is valid and executed. As a result, it's more than likely that Trump is just trying to shift the blame. One thing is clear: Trump tries to pin responsibility on others, Rubio, DHS, other people. The weight of these actions still rests at the top, and if he didn't sign it, the question remains, who did? And I think the big question also remains, if he's going to sit here and hold Joe Biden to this standard and say his documents and pardons was signed by auto pen and therefore they don't count. If he's going to say that, how can he say that and then turn around and say that he don't remember signing something? And when have you ever in your lifetime heard a president say, I don't know who signed that? We got people working on that. I'm not sure who did that. It does sound as though Trump is trying to shift blame, but I also want to talk about Trump's claim of the auto pen, which is all bullshit, by the way. Auto pens are legal. Presidents can sign with those, have been able to for a long time. But what Donald Trump is trying to do here is he is trying to unravel everything that Joe Biden ever did. And the way that he's going to go about that is by saying that Joe Biden wasn't aware of what was going on, that Joe Biden was in decline so bad that other people was doing all these things without his knowledge. And then Trump can use that as a premise to say, I want to take all this out, which he's already doing. He's already unraveling everything as fast as he can. But he definitely wants to find a way to be able to undo what Joe Biden did. And I guarantee you, he's already got his flock convinced that all the stuff Joe Biden did was illegal and all the stuff that he's doing is perfectly legal, and they can trust him with everything. But I just cannot imagine what Sean Hannity and Jesse Waters would be saying on Fox News today. And I cannot imagine what the Charlie Kirks and the Steve Bannons of the world would be saying. And Joe Rogan, good Lord. He would have had Jamie pulling it up 500 times. Show it again, show it again. Watch Biden say he didn't sign this. If Biden didn't sign this, then who did? Their hypocrisy is always going to be off the charts. There's never going to be any consistency with those people. But yeah, if he didn't sign it, who did? And how does he get off saying, I don't know who signed that? That's the bigger one to me. A president of the United States going, well, I don't know. I don't know who signed that. It just sounds like your typical employee down at the factory that got caught doing something he wasn't supposed to do or screwed up an order and then turned around and said, well, I don't know. I don't think I was over there that day. I didn't do it. That might work if you're on the loading dock, but when you're the president of the United States, you should be held to a higher standard. And if they're going to if they just spent the last 4 years running down Joe Biden, criticizing every move, criticizing every misspeak, criticizing every stumble, criticizing every hesitation. I have never in my life seen a president picked apart the way Joe Biden was by these people who could not let it go. And meanwhile, Donald Trump does nothing but spew verbal diarrhea. I mean, he absolutely never answers a question. I've never heard the guy answer a straight question. He dances and dodges all around the questions. But while he's dancing and dodging, he says mean, cruel, and hateful shit, and that's what they love. They don't love him because he tells it like it is. They love him because he's an asshole to people that they hate. That's the whole reason why they cheer him. And I know so many people that I guarantee you watches my channel just to see if I'm upset about something Trump has done, because they enjoy watching other people get upset about it. But the truth of the matter is, they're going to get upset as this administration continues to steamroll. And I guess we'll have people working on it. I guess Trump won't always be signing stuff. It'll just be whoever showed up to work that day. But as these things starts to affect everyday Americans, you're going to see more and more people rise up, and you already are. You're seeing people go out here to these town halls. You're seeing Republicans duck and dodge those town halls because they don't want to go out there and answer those questions, because they never want to entertain the idea, and I'm always going to drive this point home, they never want to entertain the idea that they could ever be wrong or that anyone could ever possibly disagree with them. Anyone that disagrees with them in their mind is a paid protester. Any election they lose was rigged. And that's the type of messaging they're going to always double and triple down on, because that's all they got. When you are as wrong as they are, and you're as over-the-top bigoted and over-the-top racist, and you want to sit and tear down the Constitution and completely tear down our entire government and just rip up the Bible and throw it in the garbage, when you want to do all of those things, then you have to surround yourself with those kind of people who will never hold anyone to any account. So, if this had been a Joe Biden story, we would still be talking about it. As a matter of fact, I still hear people going back and criticizing Joe Biden's debate performance. They're still talking about that today, but they'll go crickets on this one. It won't even be a segment. They'll make sure it doesn't even make the news. But I appreciate you all for tuning in every day and listening to this hillbilly sit here in this chair and just react to the world around him. The channel continues to grow, and I really appreciate it. If you haven't already, be sure and check out our Patreon. It's linked in the description of this video. I've been having some really good conversations and interviews that I've been putting over there, and doing some book reviews and album reviews, and we've lit up the grill, and I reviewed a cigar, and it's actually been kind of good for me to take a break from the politics and talk about other things over there. I mean, sometimes, of course, yes. I mean, there's no way it could be anything Tennessee Brando related that didn't have politics weaved in it somehow. But yeah, for sure. I think my dryer is going ape shit, by the way, at the moment, so I'm going to have to run. But be sure to check out that Patreon. I don't feel like redoing this video. Check out the Patreon. Thank y'all for subscribing, and y'all have a great day.